Let's make it bigger. Okay, so today's short story is on the strict side. Yeah, it's of course backed by the compassion of the Buddha. And yeah, but it's more on the wisdom side. So let's read it once. Number 61. Human lust creates the blade leaf forest hell. The blade leaf forest hell mentioned in Buddhist scriptures is a portrayal of this human sea of lust. When a man goes to this hell, the first thing he notices is a huge tree reaching to the heavens, whose leaves, sharp as sword blades, emit fire. At the top of the tree is a woman he fancies with a come-hither look on her face. She beckons to him. It is the sinner's former lover. In a fever of excitement and longing, he cannot sit still. Forgetting all else, he starts up the tree, only for a shower of blade leaves to rain down upon him, rending his flesh and piercing his bones. Though he is covered head to toe in gore, his passion only mounts. Finally, managing to climb up beside the woman, he reaches out to embrace her with all his might, only for her to disappear like magic. Now she calls to him sweetly from the foot of the tree. Darling, I came here out of love for you. Hurry and make love to me. There is something heartrending about the single-minded devotion of a man who would suffer so much to be with a woman, or vice versa. Now the flames of his love fan brighter still, and down the tree he goes. This time, the blade leaves lying fallen on the ground, now pointed upwards, emit tongues of fire that penetrate every inch of his flesh and char his bones. His suffering defies description. When he finally lands on the ground, the object of his desire is nowhere to be found. Once again, she calls to him from the treetop, writhing sensuously. Buddhism teaches that in this hell, the lover is condemned to climb up and down over and over, suffering continuously from unceasing lust. Lovers part and long for one another, meet and become enemies, inflicting pain on one another. With longings unfulfilled, they are consumed with desire. With longings fulfilled, their desire only doubles, eating them alive. The description aptly describes the torment of human sexual love and desire. Okay, that's it. It's a short story from the book You Were Born for a Reason. Yeah, it is a very vivid description of how blind passions that Buddha teaches all humans are made of, how these blind passions actually trouble and torment us. And this becomes one gateway to the Dharma or Buddhism for a lot of us. We begin to see we are troubled and tormented by our own blind passions. This shows a lot of progress on the spiritual journey because most people, before they get to this point, they point finger at other people and blame them for why they suffer. But if we look within, we realize these blind passions eating us alive from inside out, that's why we are suffering. So this is commendable if we have this awareness. That's very good. It's not only about, it's just desire for lust or sexual desires. It's not only that one. You can apply this story to any other 5 desires, such as desire for money, food and recognition, and sleep and leisure. Yeah. I just came back from Japan and a little bit jet lagged. I got like good quality, I would say 7 hours of sleep, but it's like the brain is still in the daytime in California, it's nighttime in Japan. So my brain is a little bit confused. That's another example of how we get troubled by our own blind passion. Now, the beauty of this awareness is that we try to become proactive, finding solutions. So I'm going to make myself a nice cup of coffee after this to add to my alertness instead of just, being upset or irritated or any other of those blind passions. Now, people who don't see this blind passion in themselves, they just, if they're in a relationship, so when they part, they long for one another. And then when they meet, they become enemies, inflicting pain on one another, as we read here. So that's why we hear so many relationships. They are so full of roller coaster rides and so much that I hear, you don't believe it. When I was in Japan, there was one of our Shinran students, she brought her niece, who was 6 years old, and she was telling her aunt, oh, single, the aunt is single. Oh, aunt, please don't get married. And she was like, why? And the niece was like, 6-year-old niece, girl. She was like, oh, because I see in the cartoons and movies a lot of boys, they are mean or they deceive the girl. Even a 6-year-old has come up with that conclusion. Imagine all the information coming in. In America alone, 65 or more of marriages end up in divorce. So if we are unaware, if we are in the dark about the intensity of these passions, we have to suffer. As we listen to the Dharma again and again, repeatedly, the light of the Buddha illuminates these blind passions and we become aware of them. That suffering transforms into gratitude and joyfulness. So even though the story touches upon the strict side or the wisdom side, um, what it's guiding us towards is how we can have our suffering transform into gratitude and joyfulness. So yeah, sorry if it was a little bit difficult, but we will elaborate more in our meetups and our sessions. So hope to see you there too. Okay, have a wonderful Tuesday. Thank you again, Gary, for your assistance yesterday from the airport, and have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye, Gary.